Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Blonde Ambitions podcast. I'm your host, Dianna King. I am this episode for me is so huge, and it will be for you too if you're an actor or if you're into acting. Today, I have a director, writer, and producer. She is the creator and author of the Lyndon Technique, the 15 Guideline Map to Booking, which has produced over 55 series regulars, an Emmy Award winner, and Imogen winner, with over 120 IMDB credits that consist of acting and directing under her own belt. She is an actress. A wildly successful podcast. She is one of the hardest hitters in the business, in my opinion. And you do all of this with such humility and sensibility. Ladies and gentlemen, the Russian skating coach of the acting world, Amy fucking Lyndon.
I love that, the Russian, but it's true. I am a Russian skating coach of the acting world.
It's true. If you've taken any or listened to your podcast at all, you really are. You really are. And you're a cheerleader. And on behalf of all actors, we love you and thank you. So, yeah,
Yeah,
we
I
love
mean,
it.
I hear that a lot. I'm like, oh God, I was intimidated by you, but I really want to train with you. I'm like, well, you should be training with people that you're intimidated by. So because if you get to a point where you're not intimidated at all, then oh my
You
God, you're
get
doing,
comfortable.
yeah,
Yeah,
but the industry is intimidating. I mean,
absolutely.
you go into a television room or you're at like the final level of network and there's like 20 people there. That's intimidating. So I'm actually training people for what it's really like.
100%.
This like comfortability factor. I think it's great at the beginning of your career to be part of that comfortability kumbaya thing.
Hmm.
Because, so much of us actors, we get into acting because of our brokenness.
Yeah,
And we love the community because it makes us feel like we're part of the family.
100%.
And I
Yeah.
believe that all of us, even as children, when we were in plays in grade school, we just wanted to be part of a group, right?
Yeah, you just wanted to be accepted. You just wanted to feel like somebody.
Yeah. And you felt that way in the theater. Everybody like loved each other all the time. We were always hugging and,
Celebrating.
celebrating
Yeah.
and I think that's great at the beginning of your career, but let's get real. You get a script, you got 72 hours, and this process, kumbaya, is not going to help you book the job.
It goes out the window and the real work has to set in and you
Yeah,
have to do that real work. Yeah,
yeah, and that's where I
absolutely. Right. And I love that because you're right. The industry is hard, it's tough.
come.
It's like it does so many things to you emotionally. You're
Yeah,
rejected, and if you're not prepared for something like that, then you are going to get eaten alive in this industry on the very first audition that you go to in the room. We'll just say that.
yeah, and I have fallen on my face. I can't even count how many times I have just fallen on my face in the room. And
Yeah.
that's pretty much why the technique was even born, was because I just was trashed. I was trashing it. Big opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I want to get into that actually. So when did you create this technique and was it during a pivot away from acting? Was it during that time period or
No, it was during acting.
okay.
I was booking a lot of feature films because feature films want really interesting people.
Yeah.
And I was very interesting.
Yeah. Yes.
and and they love characters, people that when you're just standing still, you're interesting. That's what film wants. Film wants real wonderful people, and that's why I'm really loving what's happening on streaming because it's so much like film,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
for network television, there is a formula to it. And I was working against the formula because I was angry that there was a formula.
Mm.
And I wanted to always do my own thing. And how are they going to recognize me if I just do this? And I wasn't allowing myself to do that. I just wouldn't do it. And then finally I said, you know what? If you want to work in television, then you have to figure it out. And that's how the technique was born.
I
I
love it.
figured it out. The technique is my technique that I did for myself when I started booking a lot of television. And that was
Okay, yeah.
years ago,
How many years ago was that?
29 years ago.
29. Wow. Wow. Well,
So when you train with me, you're actually training with a master coach. I mean, I've been training this technique for 29, almost 30 years.
wow. Well,
And
it
that's
does
why it's
work.
many people.
It really does. And for me personally, and I don't know if this is for anybody else, but just step one for me, it's it's reading it 10 times and getting the story in your heart, and not, you're thinking of being of the writer's perspective, right? And not the director, because that's our first mistake, right? Is you start to put the twist on it, the tone on it that you think before you do the homework, right? And
Yeah.
so that was the part for me that really resonated, because
Yeah.
I was doing that.
When you get into the think, which is what most people do, it then becomes idea and concept.
Yeah.
And idea and concept will never resonate in a personal way because you'll be in your head.
Yes.
But the moment that you can just step outside of it and just really see why you're even there in the big puzzle of it, then you'll just do that. But you'll do that all the way.
Yeah.
And especially in television, but even in feature film, you look at the people that are really like standouts, even supporting actors. They do that. They stay in their lane and they swing all the way through. And those are the people that we always remember.
Yeah. Yes. That's so true. I did ask a lot of actors. I asked around and I said, I'm having Amy Lyndon on my podcast. What are some questions that we have for her? Because you are just a wealth of knowledge. And the number one question that I got was, how do we book the room and how do we book the damn job?
Okay, well
A loaded question.
that's my entire technique. You'll have to train.
Yeah, it is really.
But I'll give a short form of it. Okay.
Okay.
You don't want to book the room. You want to do it for yourself. You want the room to come to you. So I am opposite what everybody says. The room will love you when you are exactly what you should be, what you should be. So if you reach to the room and the room doesn't give back, it's going to affect everything that you do.
Mm.
This has to be for you. So, like for instance, if you're playing somebody that's just lost something, if your loss is not at 12, then why would the room even love you? People stay on people's lists and they get on the short list because you're brilliant.
Mm.
So that's how you win the room. And the brilliance comes in the details and comes in the depth of feel and the understanding of where you are in the story. And if you do your job, then the room will love you and remember you and always want to work with you.
Yeah. Or bring you in for something else. I
Always,
remember her. We should call her. Yeah.
always,
Yeah.
always. And, I hear from my people all the time, casting calls their agent. Casting never calls the agents. But with my technique, casting calls the agent and goes, oh my God, they were great. We're holding on to them. They're not right for this. I mean, who does that?
Yeah.
So you're doing your job. So if you work towards the room's not there to love you. The room's there to find you.
Right. Wow. 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 Yeah.
So, everybody comes up
Wow.
with these coin freaking phrases, and I don't agree with it, which is why my technique is incredibly controversial, and why people don't understand why, like, a quarter of my series regulars have no other training other than the Lyndon Technique. And they're like, how could that be? I mean, I have a girl that was just in Spain and just did a lead in a Lifetime movie she got cast for both of those off of her self-tape,
Wow.
just using the technique. She told me she beat out 20,000 people for this commercial that shot in Spain. That's what the producer said. 20,000 people.
That's
Uh,
mind-blowing.
Unbelievable.
Right.
Unbelievable. All of a sudden she's flying to Spain, which leads me to tell you guys, make sure you have your passports in order.
Have your package in order? Yeah.
Passports, your
Oh,
passports.
passports. Well, both of those things. Package and passport. Yes, get a passport, people. You never know.
Yeah, so booking is a separate beast.
100%. Yeah.
So what I do is I find out where everybody is trained and I take your talent and put it into the technique. And you place it in the technique. But if I were to tell you anything that's of value, that would be, well, everything I say is of value. But if I said one thing that was like massively of value, have an emotional journal.
That was gonna be another question I had. Yeah. I love the emotional journal that you go through, and it does take sometimes 2 to 3 days to get to that an emotion that you have. And that's part of our homework is we have to do those things. You can't just be a procrastinator and do these things last minute. You have to do these things when you don't even have an audition going on. These need to be part of our, daily, weekly practices that we do. And
Yeah, just really knowing
knowing.
everything is inside of you and not just having your basic emotions, like really
Yeah.
getting specific.
Not
Um,
just sad, but devastated,
yeah,
distraught.
or God smacked.
I love that.
I'm feeling God smacked. Yeah, I mean, like just having like emphatic or not just devastated, but floored.
Yeah. Very
Like, very
specific.
specific.
Yeah.
Because I came up in so many techniques. I mean, I've learned every single technique, every single one of them.
Yeah.
Um, and most of them kept me in my head, like the action thing. How is action going to ever get you in your body? Once you're in your body and connected, you can't disconnect. So those of you that keep going in and out of your script, in and out of your script, in and out of your script, it's because you're in and out of your head.
Yeah,
What about
100%.
if you never got to your head to begin with? What about if you said, this is what the story's about? Um, a girl who just lost her sister. Well, have I lost anybody? Absolutely. Where is that for me? It's over here. Okay, go. Why does it have to be so freaking complicated?
Yeah. Because we focus so much on the perfection and the lines and making sure it's all picture perfect, and you don't think of the rawness that you have to bring to it that makes it so juicy,
Well,
right?
yeah, and the picture perfect perfectionism is actually putting a cap on your talent.
Yeah.
And so it's actually counterproductive. Nobody cares if you're perfect. If you want to be perfect, you want to be perfect, then be a perfect walking emotional instrument. If you want to be perfect, then be that.
Mm. Mm. That's what acting is.
That is because you're a mirror to life. And start noticing yourself and how many times like you wake up in one mood. Like you woke up feeling what today?
Driven.
Okay. And then you felt what?
Excitement.
Okay. Now, did you take driven into excitement? No, you finished driven. And then when you went on to excitement, and then you go on to something else. So why is it that when we're working on our scenes, we blend everything?
Mm.
That's not exciting acting. That's not exciting acting to watch. That's not life. Life is strong transitions.
I was gonna say it's perfecting those transitions is
Right.
the key, right?
So if you want to be perfect, do that. Have the perfect emotion, have the perfect transition, have the perfect thought.
Yeah, I love that. You teach transitions so beautifully in your course. It's never resonated with me the way that it has after all these acting classes I've taken throughout my whole life that and then it did in that moment when you said. It just really it just is so explained beautifully and if you don't work with Amy, I mean you have so many different ways that you can get your hands on your knowledge, really, just your podcast. I mean, you have the YouTube videos, your online courses, you have master classes, you have monthly groups that you have that you do Zooms with, Saturday intensives, your actor club, you have a book. I mean, it's all cut out for us to go and I wouldn't even say it's your technique is controversial. I would say the only way it would be that way is because it works, because you're not gatekeeping.
I'm not piggybacking off of somebody else's hoo-ha. I created my own hoo-ha.
Yeah. I love you.
I've got my own hoo-ha. And
Oh my god.
and yeah, I mean, granted, I studied with some great people and there's some resonance of some of their stuff. Like who am I relating to? I think the guideline who am I relating to is important because you're never going to be working with somebody that's going to give you exactly what you need. Okay?
Right.
So, who am I relating to takes personalization and puts it on steroids. It's not just a face, guys. It has to be the entire energy. Because otherwise you're not going to come into the room with all of your imaginary friends. It has to be the entire energy. So the technique was mostly born to protect you in the room.
Mhm.
Because the room, like I said earlier, they're there to find you. Okay. So I take the room out of the mix. And so creating the environment, coming into the room, you're not in the room, you're actually in the environment. And then the who am I relating to is the energy of the people that you're working with. So those of you that keep running things with people, it's not helping you. It's not training you properly because that's not what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
Casting is not, their job is not to read well with you or to act with you. So if you've been training that way, no wonder you're thrown when you get to the room.
Mhm.
You have to train for what it is that you want to do. So let's stop lying to ourselves. You know, my office manager Tracy always reads with me when I have auditions, and I have her stand in the corner. I don't look at her because even one little, it'll throw me out of the scene. I'm so empathic. I'm so sensitive. Even if she just did this or anything, I would think she hates what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm the same way. I can't look at my reader. I have to just look at like an object. You know?
Yeah. So now what you'll do is bring more of the energy and the face, of course, but the energy so you're with that feeling of that person. So the more
Mhm.
that you're with that feeling of the person, the more you respond appropriately.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. For auditions, would you say this was another question that someone had. We always hear that we need to be real and grounded, but also not afraid to make bold choices. When we send an audition, is it best to send the two takes in to show that we have range, or should we just send the best take?
Now stop thinking about what it is that they are looking for. Stop it. Stop the madness. Stop reading breakdowns. If you read the script 10 times, you'll know exactly what they're looking for. And swing all the way through in what you're supposed to be doing. Look, you know, I've booked a lot of like those sub characters where they were like the funny sub storyline.
Yeah.
in an episodic. And most people would have been like, oh God, that's too much. Well, if you watch some of those shows, those little sub characters are too much.
They stand out.
That's right. They're written too much. You know, like you see the guy with the hatchet in his head on Grey's Anatomy going through the ER and he goes, oh my God, I have such a headache, right? Well, I mean, understand what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Understand what the show is. Understand what the tone is. Understand what network it is. And fulfill that all the way.
Mm,
You will see
okay.
massive changes in your life, in your career. You will take your career back. It can't be about what other people are looking for. And both questions were based in that.
Yeah.
The room and sending in 2 takes. In my opinion, there's only one take, and that's the take that the writer wrote, and you got to figure that out. And
Okay.
if they ask for 2 takes, then either do a more intense, quieter version of it, or a more intense, bigger version of it. But it's still the same story.
Right. Right. That goes back to thinking like the writer. You have to think like the writer in the writer's perspective.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
It's so true.
make it your world. What is the world that your character lives in? And when do you live in that world? And there it is. There you're the character.
Yeah.
It really needs to be that simple. Because if it's not that simple, how is your personality and your isms going to shine?
Yeah. How are you going to put your own little flavor on it? Yeah. Right. That's
That's what
true.
makes it special. That is the it factor. The it factor is you.
Yeah. Who tells the best story, right? Is who's going to book that job,
No
basically.
doubt in my mind. And if you guys are anything like me, I had horrible reading comprehension problems. Well, I mean, as a kid, I didn't read, you know?
Yeah.
I was busy, doing dance numbers in my bedroom with my friends.
Guilty. Yeah.
We like do choreography in the bedroom, you know?
Yes. I was by myself though, in the mirror.
I did it by myself too.
Yes, yeah, I still do. I'm not gonna lie. I come from the dance world, so that's where I fit into all of this. But yeah, you too, though. You too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I was a dancer for many years. Yeah,
yeah.
watching your dance videos are amazing. Amazing.
Oh my God, thanks, Amy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. I don't post all of them because not all of them are amazing.
Well,
Some
yeah.
of them are like, wow, that was really bad.
Well,
But yeah, I love to dance. It's like therapy for me. It really is. It when I'm in the room dancing in a class, I feel like that is when I am at my most homeostasis, if you will. Just in my mind, my brain, I just feel at peace.
I love
And yeah, and acting too has really done that for me. Just any type of performing and making others happy and making them feel a certain feeling, joy, excitement, whatever, that is what drives me. Yeah.
Well, you could take your dance and apply it to your acting because, the guideline, what am I doing, is choreography.
Yeah.
The movement of a script, really feeling the music and the movement of the script and watch it being moved frame by frame by frame by frame by frame and really seeing the movement. And then that's the choreography of it.
Yes.
And you guys make sure that you work in front of your camera before your self tape. Like work in front of your camera. Don't just go and do a self tape without working out where everybody is, feeling the energy. When
Yeah.
the character is up and moving, then don't study sitting down. And
Yeah.
as dancers, you want to really get it in your body and move it around and see where it is for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really works
Absolutely.
when you have a dance background because you understand transitions.
That I was gonna say transitions again. Yeah, I was gonna say that again. Yeah. Because dancing always it's all about the transition.
It's all about the
All
transition.
about it. Yeah.
And you don't bleed one transition into another. It's like this is done and then boom, you're on here and then it's you do this over here.
Yes. Yeah, I try to apply that a lot to my auditions. A
Yeah.
lot. Yeah, definitely. And I love being in the room. I love it. I had a live audition. Well, not live. I guess like live Zoom live is different. I don't know, but I did go in the room and audition. And it was I don't know, when it just brings that energy and it just something about it. And I think it's because I grew up dancing and being on a stage, and so I'm comfortable in front of a lot of people like that. But in the room, it gives me just a different something comes out.
That's good. You like the feeling. Well, because that's where you grew up. You understand that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
It's
would have
the
been
best
better for
feeling in
you.
the world.
Would have been better for you 15 years ago when they had like everybody would be in the room.
Yeah.
I remember one time I went to a callback. They literally had like benches of people. It was for a network sitcom. I was not expecting that. I would
Yeah.
walked in and I was like, oh my God. That's how it used to be. You guys
Yeah.
are so lucky that only like one or two people show up.
I
There
know,
used to
right?
be everybody was there.
Yeah. I was a kid doing auditions like that, and there would be cameras everywhere, directors, writers, people coming out of the speaker, and I'm like, "What is going on?"
It was
But
fun.
that's but
Yeah.
it was like, "Oh my god, this is exciting." It was just the excitement around it is what drives me so much. Yeah.
Okay.
Being in the room is there's nothing better than being in the room and not even you don't even have to book the audition, just nailing it and knowing you nailed it and you left it all on the floor for those casting directors, like
It,
that's when you know you booked the room,
that's
I
when you
guess.
exactly. That's the point. Thank you for making my point.
Yes.
If you go to your car and you say, what the hell was I doing? Well, you didn't know what you were doing. Okay, so no, you didn't book the room. But if you can go to your car, like you just said, and say, you know what? There's nothing else I would have done. I did everything that I could have done in this space here, and I gave a very strong way to go.
Yes.
That's all you can do.
And let it go after. Don't dwell on it. Don't worry. Oh, when are they going to call me? Let
Well,
it go.
if you sucked, those are the auditions that you dwell on.
Yeah.
Know that you didn't do well in, so just like do better next time. But those are the ones that were like, oh, I need feedback. You don't need feedback. You know how you did.
Yeah.
Like, stop asking for feedback, guys.
Yeah.
Think to yourself, you know how you did. And if you want to get better, then get better.
Right.
If you want to do better, then do better. It's up to you. Everybody's always looking for out there to validate them. Validate yourself.
Mm.
You be the best you can be for you. And so like you said, you walked away saying there's nothing more I could do. I feel good about that. I can go have a cocktail
Yeah. Couple.
now.
Oh my gosh. I do have a question for you because I struggle with it.
Okay.
How do you how do you stand out in a sea of your type? Because let's be real, there's so many blonde 30 to 40-year-old 5'3", people that look just like me out in LA everywhere. How do you stand out in that type regardless of what your type is? How do you stand out?
I'm telling you, this is the same question as the other two questions. You do realize that. Dianna, you are so special. You know what? You guys, every single one of you guys either go to therapy, do a bunch of self-help stuff, do a bunch of meditation and grounding, and figure out who the fuck you are. Because once you figure out who you are, it will color everything you do. And that's what makes you special.
Mm.
But if we keep looking for the answer outside of ourselves, we will never find it. It will never happen. And you think about everything that's great about you. Well, first off, you love hats. How many people wear hats? Maybe show up in hats all the time.
I
Maybe
do love a good
you're
hat.
a hat girl. I don't know. What's great about you? You write down what's great about you, and you make sure that shows up in everything that you do.
Yeah.
And because guess what? Your competition is asking the question that you asked.
Yeah.
They're looking around and figuring it out.
Yeah.
You know, I remember I once went to a callback and I really was not doing my own technique. If I don't do my own technique, I'm going to suck. I'm just telling you that. Yeah, this
I
one,
doubt that, but okay.
no, I'm telling you, it's true. Um, so I was at this callback and I saw this girl with her hair on top of her head. She was my type, like exactly what you're saying. I'm like, fuck, why didn't I put my hair on top of my head? That was my thought.
Oh.
On home at that point. Because Diana, I just gave it to her. I just gave her the job.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then I still wasn't put together properly. I just wasn't focused. And I walked in a comedy audition, right? And there's this guy on the couch like this. I'm like, who invited this guy to my audition? It's a comedy audition. Why did the casting director invite this person? Do they hate me? Do they hate me? This person isn't funny. They're sitting on the couch being mean. They're not, and I'm thinking all this during my audition. Oh,
Getting in your head.
yeah, that was it. That was
That's what happens.
it was
And
over.
it's like we know these things. We know these things, right? And these are questions from me and other people as well, but we just need to trust ourselves. And
Yes,
that's what I'm learning. I have all my auditions coached. It's either with Tony Robinette or Kenzo. And Kenzo has told me most recently, you got to just trust yourself. You are so good. But if you would just let that go, you would be phenomenal. You gotta trust yourself. You have to believe in yourself.
hate to do that. I mean, I think the point of the room audition was that I wasn't in the world that I was creating,
Yeah.
and trust comes from the world that you are creating. Create
Mm.
the world that you live in, and then you'll never need a coach again. Sorry, coaches, but it's true. Because sometimes when you coach too much, sorry, I'm gonna have these people fucking hating me, but I don't care. But sometimes when you coach too much, you're busy making the coach happy. You know what I mean? And
Oh, yeah.
you, you see how I keep saying everything comes back to you. Everything comes back to you. Create this world, the environment, the story, where you are in the story, where it feels for you, how deep it is for you, and then put yourself there. Turn off the phone, turn off anything that's going to pull you out of being there. And those are the competitors.
Mm.
The moment that you have actor thoughts, then doubt creeps in. All of our terror creeps in, nervousness or feeling like we're not enough. All of that stuff creeps in when you have a crack in your homework. But if
Mm.
you have flawless homework and you are creating this world and you're living the world and you're loving the world, nobody's going to penetrate that. And if you think about any time that you've ever booked, it's because that world was complete.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That makes so much sense.
So if you don't know how to create a world, then that's where I come in to teach you how to do that. How to ask the right questions to create that world.
Mm.
And once you learn how to ask the questions, it's going to be up to you on how deep you're going to go into that world.
Wow. Yeah. I love that. That's so true. God, I'm getting so much from this. I love it. I love this. Um, as what has driven you all of these years? What has inspired you?
Failure. I'm so afraid to fail that I work really hard to not fail. Just fear of failure. Wanting to leave a huge
Did
leg.
I lose Amy? Oh, are you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry. You cut out for just a second. You're good.
Oh, okay. So
You're good.
wanting to leave a huge legacy, wanting to have been left something to my community, to the people that I love, which are actors. That's the only thing that saved me as a child. So I get upset.
Mm. Oh my God.
That's very emotional because you know it's emotional when you're a kid,
Yeah.
being part of that group and just wanting to leave that forever.
Just wanting to be accepted and be a part of something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and just not failing at everything that you do, wanting to be success. So I work really hard to be a success.
You are an absolute success in many ways, not just acting. You are amazing at so many other things. I feel like you've made that hurdle. You got over that as a child. I've been there. I know what it's like, and the rejection and not feeling accepted, and that carries into your adulthood. And just know that you have overcome all of that and you are a success. And so many people look to you for direction and advice on how to basically live their lives.
How to make it happen.
Let's make this shit happen. And you, like I said in the intro, you are like so humble and you are sensible. And yeah, you maybe intimidate some people. I'll say that I've never been intimidated by you, but I have only seen you as a light and a person that is inspirational for people like me, like us that want to be successful too. And you're a prime example. And you don't have to be, Jennifer Aniston or whoever, Brad Pitt or George Clooney to be an inspiration to people for actors. I think that's a huge misconception. There's,
I'm more boots on the ground.
yeah,
I mean, that's why it really bothers me. Some coaches like you, it's like, look at their IMDb, guys. Are they boots on the ground with you? Do they really understand like what's going on? Like Tony and Kenzo, they're boots on the ground.
yeah,
Those
absolutely.
boots on the ground. They're out there doing it. They're part of it. They're in the trenches. You know, and that's who you want to hang with, or people that
Hmm.
trenches with you, not people that charge you so much money because they had somebody that was successful like a million years ago.
Right. My references are older because I mean, that was my age range, or not age range, but you know what I mean. That's who I go to. It's like Jen Aniston,
No.
90s
I was talking about some teachers that use names,
to promote themselves. And
tells
yeah,
and charge like a ridiculous amount of money. I will never charge that amount of money. I don't care how many stars I've created. I will never, never. I'm still $200. I actually was at 100. I was at 100 like years ago, and then I moved up to 150. People were like, Amy, you're embarrassing us. You have to charge more.
I love that about you. You're so just down to earth. You know what I mean? No one would ever know that about you just looking at you, you know? Like everyone has such a story that you can't see it from the outside. And yours is amazing. And you're so down to earth. And you're right. Like Kenzo and Tony, and I mean, everyone at HWC is just really, we're all in the trenches. We're all in there together.
And a shout out to HWC. You guys, if you are not a member of HWC, there's something wrong with you. That's all I'm going
Yes,
to
you won't get this kind of, this is all HWC right here. You get the best of the best at HWC.
to be a part of that community. And Wendy Elaine Wright is just a pioneer. Just she's amazing.
She really is a pioneer. I was going to ask you, how did you and Wendy meet? When was that?
So weird. Many, many years ago. And then Wendy used to show up in my class and just hang out, you know.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, we went on a cruise, and then we got really tight, and we just been best buddies ever since, you know. I mean, we just really get each other. We're like, those friends that used to like do sleepovers and just eat bad stuff and watch TV till 3 in the morning, you know. We're
Oh,
like one of
I love that. You guys are so similar too. It's really cool. I would love to just sit in a room with you two and just have you guys just improv for like 30 minutes.
like just like sitting around and talking, you know. But she's incredible,
Beautiful.
really
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
Did anybody else send in any other questions?
Let me see. I mean, I'm afraid to ask any more questions.
Okay, I just think it's funny that they were all motivated, but it
Yeah.
tells us what's going on though.
Those were questions out of HWC for sure.
Yeah,
But I mean, it's all, what is the key to breaking down a script? I mean, you have to just do the Lyndon technique. You just have to go and
yeah. Let me help you in one way. It's really important in guideline one is to not give your point of view. I think a lot of people are trained to give their point of view for what the scene's about. It's not about what your point of view is. A lot of people go, well, it's about a girl who wanted to satisfy her boyfriend. Well, that's not what it's about for him. So that is
Mm,
not what the scene's about. So if you keep coming up with your point of view, you're not really going to see the whole picture. It's about what everybody's talking about. So come up with one word. Okay? And then find that one line of dialogue that is the whole reason for your existence. And if you can do those two things, then your boat will be going the right way.
yeah,
And then after that, just keep go after the other guidelines. But this is guideline 1 and 5. If you can do 1 and 5 properly, and they're the hardest guidelines to do, then you'll have the rudder, and then everything will be moving in the right direction. And so
absolutely.
that's a really strong way of an approach.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, I love guideline number one. I don't know. It just getting through number one, I'm golden. Once I read that script 10 times and I find my tagline and I do the one line for the scene, I mean, I'm off. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, and then the rest of the time is really marination.
Yeah, absolutely. Sitting with it. Don't wait till the day of. If you have overnight, that's your time. Use that time to really get into it and really
Yeah,
feel.
just sit on it. Yeah,
Yeah,
sit on it. Taste.
totally agree.
Break down a line into just a couple words. Follow the punctuation. See how the character speaks.
Yeah,
I'm like, you don't have to like read it, read it, read it, read it. Maybe on one read, you're just reading action. On one read, you're just reading the other person's dialogue. On one read, you're just, you know what I mean? But each
yeah,
read, it can be completely different.
Yeah. And then reading all of it over and over and over, you won't have to go and run your lines and do, all of those things. It's just, it's in you, it's in your head, it's in your heart. If you feel it, you'll say it. Yeah.
That becomes
That's
really,
what I've learned.
yeah. So why do you think that feedback that Kenzo gave you that you're not trusting yourself? Let's talk about trusting yourself so we could fix it. Because
Yeah.
I'm a fixer. No, I don't put band-aids on shit. I fix it.
You want to go into it and fix
Yeah.
the root of the problem.
So why don't you trust yourself? Why do you think you don't trust yourself?
I think I don't trust myself because I think I have my voice teacher told me I have imposter syndrome. Whatever that means. And then I just feel like maybe I I don't know, insecurities within myself.
That it's not about you, that it's about your character, that you could hide in the character.
Yeah.
So if you push the character forward and have respect more for the character and give yourself a little bit of a backseat and just use yourself as a channel, I think that you'll be able to step out of the way a little bit.
Yeah. It's just that fear of not being good enough. Maybe my audition's a 9,
But how are
but
you gonna know?
how do you get yeah,
But how are you gonna know?
that's my problem.
There's practicing, and then you're practicing at a certain level, but there's also practicing at a higher level, which is the not knowing.
Yeah.
You have to practice at the not knowing level, which is not knowing what's coming next, not knowing like really like free falling. So you're not practicing at the free falling level. You're still holding on tight, which is why you're doubting yourself and all this other stuff is creeping in. But I'm telling you, if you just give it up to the character and give it up to everything and see what happens, but practice in that space, you'll get used to that space more. So you're too tight over here. And so work over here now
Yeah. Yeah.
and let it go and see what happens. You're not at the see what happens.
Yeah.
If you're at the see what happens, then you'll have more confidence because you'd be like, oh, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with not knowing what's going to happen because now I'm in the creative juice of it all.
Yeah. That happens a lot for me. I'm able to let the audition go. I'm able to let it go if I don't get it. I don't get upset. It's all just part of the journey, right? And so I just focus on my auditions, and some days it's really hard to get that trust in myself.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about the letting go during the audition. I'm not talking about after.
Oh, okay, okay.
No, I'm talking about during the audition. You're at like
Gotcha.
here, and I'm asking you to start training the letting go while you're training. You're not training in the letting go.
Yeah. Mm,
You're really safe over here, and I'm asking you to go to the next level and not know what's going to happen.
yeah.
Get comfortable with not knowing what's going to happen
Okay.
because you're not comfortable with that. And so that's where the self doubt goes in. And that's
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
you're right.
So try that for a little bit and then get comfortable with not, and you'll have way more fun. And then the self doubt will go away because you won't have time for it.
Yeah.
Like you have too much time on your hands, is what I'm saying.
I have too much time on my hands, worrying about too many
Yeah.
stupid things.
But if you get to the next level, I think you're ready for the next level. And so at the next level, you'll have no time at all because you have to be so alert because you don't know what's coming next.
Yeah. Well, my next step is getting in. I know I've asked you so many times how to get into your classes. I always DM Amy and I'm like, "Oh my God, Amy, I've got to get in your class." And she's like, probably like, "Yeah, you idiot. Let's go." You keep talking about it.
Did you do the Udemy course at all?
I did. I did that,
Well, then
which was
you could probably get into the class straight away. because you've been doing it a while. You have
Yeah.
right?
I what? Sorry.
You have co-stars on your resume?
I do not have any co-stars. I just have supporting feature films.
Oh, okay. So you have feature films.
I
Okay.
do. Yeah.
Okay. All
And a
right.
short film. Um, and then like a little music video thing with Lady Gaga that I did in like 2022. That was really fun. She's like so fun. She's so amazing. Good.
Such respect for that person. Don't you have mad respect for her?
Mad. I didn't know who I was working with that day, and like everyone was joking about it because I didn't know. I
Oh,
that was the call. They called me at 6 a.m. and were like, "Can you be here at 9?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
wow.
No idea who it was for. In walks Lady Gaga with like 5 people, and I'm like, "Okay, we're doing this." All right. And she was amazing. She was super down to earth, so nice. Very I'll never forget. Right when she walked in, she got on her mark and said, "Okay, let's make art." And I was like, "Love her. Love her. She's
Wow.
amazing."
So were
It was
you were one of her dancers? What did you do in the movie?
I was a body double. So we were doing recordings for her Chromatica Ball 2022 tour,
Wow.
and the videos that play in the transitions between her songs and that was me, my body sometimes, and like doing all the things. Yeah, it was like crazy. It was
Like,
crazy.
that's not her body, that's my body. Stop. I love that.
Yeah, it was really fun, and but that was my first job, and it was great. It was
Wow.
great. I
Well,
cried. I cried driving on the way home. I cried. I was so happy.
that's life changing.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was such
How
a great.
hard she worked. She always wanted to be an actor. That's why I thought it was so great when she did Stars Born, because she
Yes.
wanted to be an actor and she went singing was her second love. It wasn't it you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, she's fantastic as an actress. She is fantastic. She
Yes.
just gets it. She's a performer. She's just amazing across the
Never
board.
got an opportunity and and she had to become a famous singer in order to be an actress like that.
Right. That happens sometimes. Sometimes you gotta you and she wasn't, well, yeah, she was. But sometimes you get stuck in a rut though if you come out as one thing. But she's done fabulous as an entertainer, I think. I mean, she's wonderful.
Yeah.
But
Once you're famous you could pretty much do anything, actually.
well, at that caliber, yeah.
Yeah.
I would imagine, yes. Well, Amy, I do want to ask you, what is your ambitious goal for the week? We're going to wrap this up, and at the end of every episode, I ask my guests, what is your ambitious goal for the week? So let's hear yours, Amy.
Um, I've been designing a lot. Like this is a new design. It's on a
Oh,
t-shirt.
yeah.
It's a t-shirt hoodie.
Yeah, you have merch. Amy has merch.
I have merch, and I'm all about being enough. I am enough. You are enough. But this is my new. I'm putting it up this week. I'm putting up a couple of new designs. I came up with a mascot called Not the Little Guy,
Oh,
and
I love that.
cartoony kind of dude sticking his tongue out, and it says "I am enough" on his shirt. And he's not the little guy. He's my new mascot for the brand.
That's so cute.
I'm all about promoting feeling like you're enough, and I think that everything goes back to that.
Yeah,
So I want all of your people to go to IamEnoughCollection.com, use the code enough20 and get 20% off of everything.
perfect. I'll put that in the description as well, everybody, so you guys and Amy's Instagram, her website. Like I said before, she has so many avenues that you can find her and learn from her.
Yeah,
So go and do that.
design some kind of a program for you. I could do that. Yeah, I mean, everybody's on a budget. We could figure it out. I have little power packs, and there's the actorstoolbox.net. You could go in there and watch me coach about 150 people. Like, there's so much to do, guys. Just go to the
So
store, write to me, the Lyndon Technique at gmail.com. And, I'm here for you. I'm one of you. I am you. Jeez.
yes, so true, Amy. Um, this has been absolutely beautiful. Thank you. I am so grateful for you taking time out of your day. I know this was a long one, but I
Great.
appreciate you.
Thank you so much, so much, so much. And I can't wait to, can I get a copy of this?
Absolutely.
That would be really awesome.